twilight, these sisters discuss the paranormal and the unnerving. They are known as the ParaSisters.
Hi everybody, this is Tristan.
And this is Rebecca.
And you are watching the ParaSisters.
ParaSisters. Sorry, that's my new theme song. I just made it up right now. It sounded like...
I like it. I like it. I watched this one and they actually have a theme. I listened to a podcast and they actually have for their mini podcasts. And one of the girls that does it actually made a theme song for the podcast and it is hilarious. And she sings it herself. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh, we should make a song. Although I like our intro music, but we should have a song also. we can
I also like our intro.
We'll write it and we'll record it or so.
Right. And it could be just something silly.
Yeah, who knows how it'll be, but we'll see. I've never written a song, so I don't know.
Me neither. I'm not that creative.
So I feel
if it's already happened, I could tell you all about it.
Right. Well, yeah. I feel like I'm creative, but I'm not musically creative. So
I'm not either. No, not at all.
No, I enjoy music very, very much, but I don't think I could write music. I don't know. Like even if
I don't think I could write music.
Even if I could read music, I don't think I could write it. So.
I can read music, but I cannot definitely not write it.
Well, aren't we Batesy? I can read the letters.
Okay, so, back from our side trip here.
I know, we're psychos. Okay.
Yes, we are. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right, so today I am so excited about this. I've been excited about this all week because I literally read this and was scared to take a shower. For 3 days.
That's freaking awesome. So you didn't shower for 3 days, or you sucked it up and you did it even though you were terrified?
I sucked it up and I did it, but every time, because I have a cat that likes to go to the bathroom with me and she wants to drink out of the sink, so every time she would jump down from the counter, I'd be like, what the hell is that?
You're like, it's getting me!
It's crazy. I'm just going to get into it because I'm going to get to the first-hand accounts and the stories that I've read of this.
Yeah.
It is creepy as shit, man. It is creepy.
Ooh, I love creepy.
Okay. So today we're going to be talking about doppelgangers. So doppelgangers is a German word. It means double goer. That's what it means in German.
Double goer.
So the definition of doppelganger is an apparition or double of a living person. He has been replaced by an evil doppelganger.
Ooh, evil even. Yikes.
Yeah. So, a double goer or a double walker is a biologically unrelated body double. A doppelganger is usually portrayed as a ghostly or paranormal phenomenon.
Right.
Usually seen as bad luck or a harbinger of death.
What?
Right, I know, because I was like, oh, doppelganger, that's just somebody who looks like you. Yeah. But like I told you before, I had read a story, and that's what made me look into this.
That really freaks me out, man.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why, because there's a specific reason that it freaks me out. But I'll talk about it at the end of the whole thing. So.
Okay. Yeah. So it's usually the harbinger of death, or meaning that something bad is going to happen. Either you could fall ill or just bad luck. Period. It's also known as an evil twin. The Irish from the 18th and 19th century actually call it a fetch.
Oh, I've heard of that. Okay.
Yeah. So a fetch is in Irish folklore is a double or an apparition of a living person, and they actually come to fetch the soul of the dying.
Oh, I don't like that. That just gave me the chills, man. I don't like it.
So, and then in other Irish folklore, there are references to the fetch. And it's a replica of the person in every way exactly. So, and in an Irish folklore, this person casts no shadow. So that's how you can kind of tell
Oh
the
my
difference between
gosh.
the living and the like the actual person and their fetch or their body double or their evil twin. It has a lot of different
Doppelganger.
names. Like I told you,
Yeah.
like this happens in every culture.
Yeah.
Um, so in centuries past, the Orkney Islands feared the fairies and called them trows, which they believe it's the same
Trows.
thing. They were depicted as ugly, impish little creatures whose children were always sickly. So pregnant women were carefully guarded in these times because it was believed that the trows would steal the healthy human babies and replace them with their sickly babies, and it would be an exact identical baby.
Oh my
Except for,
gosh.
yes, except for the trows babies were sickly and they would like die, in childhood. But it was like the trows would have the healthy baby's doppelganger. It would be their exact replica.
That's really freaky, and that's actually really similar to the changelings. I don't know if you've heard a lot about those before.
I I
Yeah.
have heard of changelings, yes. Um, so the English in centuries past would call it a wraith. In ancient Egyptian, it's called the ka.
I've
It's
heard
like your spirit double.
I've heard of
Um,
both of those things.
and then I hope I pronounce this right. Um, in Breton, Cornish, and Norman folklore, it's called an anko, and it is a personification of death. So it has many names. I mean, because it has been like around for a long time,
Yeah.
but it like it was just coined the doppelganger in the 18th century.
Oh right, okay.
So somebody had some a German author had come up with the term doppelganger, meaning double goer,
Right.
and so but it's been known for actually millennia. This has been covered in millennia. For thousands of years, people have believed in a double.
That's so
So
weird.
in some mythologies, seeing one's own doppelganger is an omen of death, which we'd already talked about. A doppelganger seen by friends or family members um, is said to bring bad luck
Oh my gosh.
or indicate an approaching illness or health problem. So the doppelgangers of folklore, in most folklore, they cast no shadow
Right.
and have no reflection in a mirror or in water.
Oh, like a vampire.
Yes. So they are supposed to, like the lore says, that they provide advice to you,
Right.
um, to a person that they shadow. That's what they call it when you see your doppelganger, and it like kind of follows you around after that. So it
Right.
shadows you. Um, but the advice can be misleading or malicious. Like they're going to give you really bad advice.
Oh, like
They're going to be
hey,
like,
walk out in front of that bus, there, friend.
right. I was honestly going to say that same exact analogy. I was gonna be like, hey, dude, you should just walk right out there in front of that car. That'd be cool.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You're good.
Um, and in lore, they can also, in rare cases, they can plant ideas into
Ooh,
their double's head.
like subconsciously.
Right, causing confusion, and just be really awful in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have not read anything about these being good in any way.
That's weird.
Uh, I know. Um, in many cases, they believe that once someone has viewed his or her own doppelganger, they are doomed to be haunted by the images of their ghostly counterpart forever.
Like it stays with
So
them forever, or they just
it
can never forget
stays
it.
it stays with them forever.
Oh my god, I do not like this topic, honestly. It's really freaking me out.
Isn't it so creepy? I love it so much. Like the more I read about it, I was like, yes, yes, this is awesome.
It's,
Freaking love it.
it's really freaking me out.
So Um, sorry, I lost my place, and I got two of these things. I got like almost the same paragraph written twice, and I don't know why.
That happens to me sometimes. Should I sing a song while we're waiting?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so the idea is that it's spiritual, ghostly, or demonic double, and like I said, this has been around for millennia, for a very long time. People
Right.
have believed that these things, nobody actually knows what they are. When I get into some of the the real life stories of
Uh-huh.
people who have seen their doppelgangers, it gets really weird. But
It's already
I just
weird.
want to. It is weird, but like right now, people are like, "Oh, a doppelganger! You can actually go online." I found a website when I looked up doppelganger.
Right.
I found a website where you can go and you pay this website to find your exact replica.
No, that's not right, man. That's not right. Why would you want someone to
Right.
find it?
I don't know. I wouldn't want any. I don't want any. I do not want to
Listen,
know anybody else that looks like me.
Tristan, what if you were the doppelganger? What if it was you and you never realized it?
You shut your mouth right now. I don't like that.
Oh gosh.
That is weird. Okay, so while the term doppelganger was coined in the late 18th century, I'm sorry, not 17th century, 18th century, by author John Paul, uh, the concept of a spirit double has been around for millennia. I've already said that. Even Narcissus in Greek mythology fell in love with his own reflection.
Right.
So they're thinking that maybe this was like a doppelganger type of situation.
Oh.
Um, Although many authors use uh, the doppelganger word and like how it's like two of the same,
Right.
even though they use it as a literary device to explore human duality, evil, good and evil, two sides of one coin.
Right.
Um, it's they do use this a lot for that kind of thing, and I guess that makes sense because it is basically from all the lore, it is good and evil. You know,
Right.
you have your good and your doppelganger is supposed to be your evil half, or the second of you that is not good.
Right. It's the evil side of you.
For example, in Hans Christian Andersen's 1847 tale, it's called the Skigen, or the Shadow. In the fairy tale, the man's shadow separates from his body, and
Ooh.
gradually, yeah. Hans Christian Andersen wrote some really scary stuff. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
You may
that's
think
true.
it's like fairy tale, like good fairy tale stuff. No, it
Yeah.
is not. Just like Grimm tales. The
Yeah.
Brothers
The
Grimm wrote the
Brothers
scariest
Grimm.
damn things.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you read the original stories, they are scary.
That's awesome.
Um, so the man's shadow separates from his body and gradually becomes his walking double, demonstrating the exact opposite physical and moral traits, and eventually replaces the man entirely in
What
this
it like?
book.
What? I don't like
Right, it's creepy,
that.
right? So scary. Also, the doppelganger and Edgar Allan Poe story, it's called William Wilson. And I'm
Right.
actually really intrigued to read this story. I have never read this one. I've never even heard of it. So I'm excited to actually want to watch this. Um, watch this. I really want to read this.
You want to watch Edgar Allan
Uh,
Poe, don't lie.
I do want to watch it. I do want to watch it. I don't know. Well, I guess reading is like watching to me because I
Dude, it
imagine in my
is to
head.
me because yeah, I see the scenes in my head as they're being described from the
I
book.
also do too. Like I would rather read a book than watch the movie about it
I
because then I can.
100% would also.
My mind movie is so much better than the movies they put out.
Yes, I always think that. I'm like, dang, I could have done a better job with this. Like, seriously. Like,
Our movie's like 15 hours long.
yeah, it would be totally, yeah. It would be like.
Right. So William Wilson, the doppelganger in this movie, gosh, this doppelganger in this story, exists entirely to ruin the narrator's life.
Oh,
Like he exists, that's what he exists for. Um, So the premise of the story is a boy attending a school in England meets a child with the same name and appearance as himself. The
Even the
double is a
same name?
source. Yeah, even the same name. Yeah. The double is a source of frustration from the very beginning of the story. Um, and the double appears throughout Wilson's life to like thwart his ambitions, like to just kind of like put a kibosh on everything he's planning on doing with his life. Like it is seems like this is the sole purpose of this doppelganger.
Right.
um so but in this book, sorry, in this story, it's actually the reverse, where Wilson is actually the bad one and the doppelganger
I
is the
told
good
you!
one.
What if it was you?
I know, it's just stop it. So the original Wilson's goals are nefarious, and he's motivated by lust and greed, only to be disrupted by this doppelganger who is morally upright.
Oh,
Like he's the good person in the whole thing. So
right.
where it sounded like at the beginning he was going to be like the bad one,
Yeah.
but he actually, his whole like purpose is to like upset the original William Wilson's life, because he's an awful
Because
person.
he's the bad one. He's the bad doppelganger.
Right. So at the end of the story, the original Wilson um has had it with his doppelganger, right? And he stabs him at a ball.
No.
Yeah, and when he stabs him though, so the bad Wilson stabs the good Wilson. And when he stabs him, the bad Wilson also starts bleeding in the same spot.
Oh, yeah. Killed yourself, stupid.
You're right. So he's being a dick. That's what you get for being a dick,
Yeah, pretty much.
honestly. Like that's instant karma right there. Stab somebody and you start bleeding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Totally.
What if that really happened in real life?
That'd be cool.
Nobody would kill anybody ever.
Certainly nobody that looks like you.
Yeah. That's
I.
freaking weird. That is weird.
It's so weird. It's so creepy.
So in in this whole thing, in this whole doppelganger lore history, um, there is actually a way to tell your doppelganger apart from you, besides the fact that you know it's you. I
Right.
mean, because other people like, and other stories like from, a long time ago. I mean, 2,000 years ago.
Right.
Uh, People would actually, like, their doppelganger would act as them and um like create havoc within their own world, you know?
Yeah.
So like it would be like me, like I would be going to work every day, but my doppelganger's out there like hooking it. You know what I mean? And then people be like, I saw you hooking it.
I
And I'm
saw
like,
what
what are
you
you
were
talking about?
doing.
Right. And that's how these doppelgangers would be, is they would create havoc in the original person's life. So there is a way to tell though. So these doubles may at times be seen by others as performing a person's actions before the real person makes them, or has
Right.
thought to make them, or has nothing to do with them in some cases. Um, Sometimes these doppelgangers can be seen as shadows, and the shadows are performing the same movements, but after they have happened.
Oh my
So
gosh.
if you see a shadow, like if you see a shadow do something after you've already done it, it's probably a doppelganger.
Well, and who pays attention to their shadow though? I don't. I'm
Dude,
just.
since I've read this, every day I have.
You're like,
Like I told
what are
you.
you doing?
I told you. Like I've been freaked out to take a shower, anything. Like I have been like,
That's great,
I,
actually.
I'll tell you afterwards what else I've been afraid of. I know it's freaking me out. So, like I said before, this double goer does not cast a shadow itself. So even if it looks like a human or it looks like you, it will not cast a shadow, and it will not have a reflection.
That's weird.
So yeah, it's the premonition for death and tragedy, and it says that these apparitions, I guess they could be called, has their own strange paranormal qualities as well. But like in the fact that they don't cast a shadow and they have no reflection.
Right.
Um, they're and while the doppelgangers themselves have no reflection, there are many reports of people seeing their doppelganger in the mirror,
Oh
either
my
next to them
gosh.
or next to their actual reflection, or as a distorted version of their own reflection.
Dude, it's like freaking me out.
Yeah, you see why I've been afraid to take a shower. Like I'm afraid to go in the damn bathroom and look at the mirror. Like,
Yeah. I always look in the mirror when I go to the bathroom. Now I probably won't.
so, so, allegedly, your evil twin, your doppelganger, your fetch, whatever anybody designs to call this thing, however you want to call it.
Right.
Allegedly, it could appear to someone else at any time. So it doesn't even just have to be you that sees this thing.
Oh my
Like anybody could see
gosh.
this.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so if you see my doppelganger, you better hope that I'm the good one.
Should I punch it in the face just to make sure, or what do you think?
No, because I don't want to surprise you in Colorado and you just like punch
Punch
me
you in
in
the
the face
face?
as soon as I show up to your door.
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
no! And then
I'm
you,
like, what the hell, Becca?
and then you're
Damn.
knocked out. Yeah.
I'm gonna be pissed off.
Well,
But no, don't punch it in the face because according to William Shakespeare, if and the lore, that if you hurt this doppelganger, you will also hurt me.
interesting. But I might hurt you
So
too. Anyway.
if you punch my doppelganger,
What are the I mean, really, is there a chance I'm going to see a doppelganger of you? Probably not,
I
but
don't know. I don't know. Okay, so what's weird is when I used to smoke a long time ago, I would go into Dottie's and to buy cigarettes, right? And every time I went in there, and I went in there to buy cigarettes every day, and every time I went in there, they tried to give me Marlboro Lights, and I smoked Camels,
no.
Camel menthols, and they're like, I'm like, I smoke Camel menthols, and she's like, oh yeah. But every time I went in there, and she's like, somebody who looks just like you comes in here and buys Marlboro Lights, and I'm like, I don't know who the hell this could be because I've never seen them in this town. It's
Right, it's a
small.
small
Yeah.
town, so like you should
Right.
eventually Walmart, Albertsons, Smith's.
Right.
Those are the 3 stores, by the way,
Yeah.
people, where Tristan lives.
I don't know.
Oh my
I
god.
know. Yeah. My whole 3 stores there.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but so not only can it mess with the doppelganger can not only mess with your head, but by showing itself to other people, it could actually mess with their heads and cause great confusion.
Oh,
So it like
interesting.
messes with everybody. Like its whole existence is to mess with people.
So it's like really powerful.
Right. It is.
Interesting.
It seems extremely powerful.
Is there any way to counteract a doppelganger?
I don't know. I didn't like all it talks about is the lore on it. Like it doesn't talk about
Interesting.
how to get rid of a doppelganger because from all accounts you never get rid of a
You
doppelganger.
can't. But what about someone else, I
Right.
wonder? Like, can I get rid of your doppelganger? I wonder if I just
I
say
don't
it,
know.
listen, I don't like you, leave me alone. If it would leave, or
I don't know because as like I don't even think this falls under like the regular paranormal haunting or
yeah.
apparition type thing.
Well, yeah, well, it's not technically like an apparition. It's a whole nother thing unto itself. It's like
Right. Like what is it?
what?
You know what I'm saying? Like it's weird.
Yeah, it's so weird.
So, a very famous doppelganger sighting was in the case of President Abraham Lincoln.
What?
Yes, he saw his own doppelganger.
Oh gosh, and we know
Um,
what happened to him. So,
he claimed that he saw a double reflection of himself in the mirror, and his face appeared in 2 separate and distinct images.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, the second face, though, was distinctly paler and more sickly looking than his actual reflection. He shared this with his wife, and she was said to be very worried and told Lincoln she believed that the paleness of the half dual image was a bad omen,
Yo.
which meant that Lincoln would serve his first full term but would not live to finish his second.
Well, she
And
said
then
that?
she said that
Oh
he would
my
finish his first full
gosh.
term. And tragically and bone chillingly, might I add, this
Yes.
proved to be very true. I mean, because everybody in the United States knows what happened to Lincoln in his second term as president.
Yeah.
Um, whether that reported doppelganger sighting was a warning or premonition is up for debate, obviously. Um, but either way, it's creepy as fuck. Either way,
It's so creepy. I got the chills just thinking about it.
so I know, and this whole case has made me so like freaked out. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
isn't that scary? Like you go look in the mirror and there's two people standing there. That would scare the shit out of me.
Well, not just two people, because I think it'd be one thing to look in the mirror and you see like a spirit or something like that, but to see someone that looks exactly like you, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like,
I honestly would too. I don't
I'd
know.
probably run away and
Wait,
never go
oh,
back in there. Because
so
I'm
I'm
a
gonna
chick.
get into some examples in real life that besides the Abraham Lincoln that this has happened.
Right.
And they're pretty famous people that this has happened to. And then I'm saving the story that I read that got me in that drew me into this topic.
Right.
I'm saving that one for the last.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes, yes. So a man named John Donne, uh, he was an English metaphysical poet, saw his wife's doppelganger in 1612 in Paris on the same night that their daughter was born, stillborn.
What?
Um, yeah, and so he had seen it, and so they were at this place, and 2 days after their arrival there, um, John Donne was left alone in that room, and um, uh, so I had wrote this, and I just copied what it says because it's like a letter.
Right.
So the and it's from 1612, and the guy's English, so it's very off cantered. The
Yeah.
wording is. So I'm just gonna read it as I quoted it in here. So 2 days after arrival there, Mr. Don was left alone in that room in which Sir Robert and he and some other friends had dined together. To this place Sir Robert returned within a half an hour, and as he left, so he found Mr. Don alone, but in such ecstasy, and so altered as to his looks, as amazed Sir Robert to behold him, in so much that he earnestly desired Mr. Don to declare befallen him in the short time of his absence. So he's saying, so he left them there in the room,
Right.
and he comes back, and this guy's like super happy, right? And he's like, so, why are you so happy now? I just left, when I came back and you were happy. And to which Mr. Don was not able to make a present answer, but after a long and perplexed pause, did at last say, I have seen a dreadful vision since I saw you. I have seen my dear wife pass twice before me through this room, with her hair hanging about her shoulders and a dead child in her
Oh
arms.
my gosh.
Right, but I don't understand what the ecstasy part means. I'm telling you, English were weird back then because it says that he was then for like very melancholy. Um,
Interesting.
because Sir Robert replied to him, "Sure, sir, you have slept since I saw you, and this is the result of a melancholy dream." So
Right.
he's thinking that he's dreaming, which I desire you to forget, for you are now awake. To which
Interesting.
Mr. Dons replied, I cannot be sure that I now live that I have not slept since I saw you, and am sure that at her second appearing she stopped, looked me in the face, and vanished.
Oh my gosh. That's so
Right. Is
creepy.
Isn't that creepy?
Yes.
So, like, he saw his wife walking around with the baby dead, and
Yeah.
2 days later, she has a stillborn baby.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that awful?
It's terrible. It's so, oh my god.
So, and that right there, I mean, this was before um the doppelgangers. I mean, this was like 100 years before the doppelganger was even coined as a term that people were widely aware of this.
Right.
So, because that happened in the 18th century, that
Yeah.
Jean Paul had wrote about the doppelganger, and this happened in 1612.
Oh my gosh.
I know, isn't it crazy?
So freaky.
Okay, so on July 8th of 1822, the English poet Percy Shelley, you may know his wife
Mary
as Mary
Shelley.
Shelley, yeah.
Frankenstein.
Um, on July 8th, 1822, English poet Percy Shelley drowned in the Bay of Spriggs near near a place in Italy. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at Italian.
Some Italian place.
It's obviously on the coast in Italy because he drowned in a bay.
Right.
On August 15th, while still staying at the Pisa, Percy's wife, Mary Shelley, an author and editor, wrote a letter to her friend, Maria Gisborne, in which she relayed Percy's claims to her that he had met his own doppelganger
Oh my god.
before this happened.
Yeah.
Um, so, in the early hours, I'm sorry, I went ahead. In which she relayed that Percy claims that he had met his own doppelganger a week after Mary's near fatal miscarriage in the early hours of June 23rd. So he died on July 8th. In June 23rd, Percy had a nightmare about the house collapsing in a flood and taking it over the next morning. He told her that he had had many visions lately. He had seen the figure of himself, which met him as he walked on a terrace and said to him, "How long do you mean to be content?" Um, so he sees himself walking on this terrace, right? Oh, Percy's like, "I have never seen this terrace. I have never been to where this is supposedly at," but
Right.
he sees himself, and his doppelganger is talking to him. And so he tells her about this. Of course she's worried, and um, so she thinks, I mean, he's seen things when he's been ill,
Right.
or when he's really tired.
It's hallucinating.
Um, so it was just weird. And it wasn't like what his doppelganger had said to him. It wasn't in any way like prophetic or
Right.
anything like that. It was just, how long do you mean to be content? Which to me, I think is kind of scary,
Yeah.
actually, in a way,
That's a weird
because
thing. Like, it's a weird phrase.
how long do you think you're going to be content?
Right.
Kind of, I would say that it was kind of prophetic.
Definitely threatening.
You know what I mean?
It's like,
Right, because this happened before. I mean, he ends up drowning.
yeah, right.
So, sorry, I lost my place again. Goodness gracious. I did it on my phone this time instead of writing it out like I normally do. Um, so anyway, it goes on. It goes a little bit later in time on June 15th. Um, this woman that she had wrote actually had seen him walk by, even though he wasn't even in the country at the same time.
Right.
So she tells Mary Shelley this, and she told Mary Shelley, she's like, "I had seen him pass by the window." Now this is July 15th, right? And he's not even in the country at the time. He's not even with them.
Right.
Um, and he wasn't wearing a coat or jacket, and he passed by again. And as he passed both times the same way, like
Oh, so he like went oh, and then he went oh again.
right, like twice. Like it was odd the way she had seen it. Anyway, so he dies shortly after he sees himself, you know. And then after this happens, Mary Shelley remembers, hey, he told me that he saw himself.
Right.
So, and it's really hard, like, because I just copied the quotes down, and they are very weird in the way, and it kind of just goes back and forth the way that they say their words.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's really odd how they do it. Um, so actually, she actually wrote a book about this happening.
Oh, interesting.
Um, I didn't write down the book title, of course I didn't. Why would I do that?
I don't need a title. If you want to look it up,
I
you can
know.
look it up. I mean, jeez.
You can look it up.
We
Yeah.
can't do all the work for you, okay?
And Percy Shelley wrote a drama called Prometheus Unbound in 1820, and it actually talks about a man who sees himself. It
What?
meets his doppelganger, meets his own image in a garden, uh, and then he also dies.
How does he die, I wonder?
It doesn't say in the quote that I wrote down.
Yeah.
I can read you the quote. It says, "Ur Babylon was dust. The Magus Zoroaster, my dead child, met his own image walking in the garden. That apparition, soul of man, he saw. For know there are two worlds of life and death, one that which thou beholdest, but the other is underneath the grave where do inhabit the shadows of all forms that think and live till death unite them and part no more."
All right.
That's a very dark.
Yeah, it's so like, yeah. Dark is
It's
a
very
perfect
dark.
word. Yeah, it's dark. Things got dark.
Okay, so then we go to George Trian, and a Victorian age example was a supposed appearance of Vice Admiral Sir George Trian. He was said to have walked through the drawing room of his family home in Eaton Square, London, looking straight ahead without exchanging a word to anyone, in front of several guests at a party being given by his wife on June 22nd, 1893, while he was supposed to be in a ship off the coast of the Mediterranean squadron, uh,
What?
doing maneuver. Oh no, I'm sorry. Be in a ship of the Mediterranean squadron doing maneuvers off the coast of Syria.
Oh.
Yeah, subsequently, it was reported that he had gone down with his ship.
Oh my
The
gosh.
H, yeah, the HMS Victoria, which this event actually happened.
Yeah.
He really did die, and there were many witnesses to see him walk across the room while his ship is going down.
That's crazy.
Right at the so it happened the very same night. It's so the HMS Victoria actually collided with the HMS Camperdown,
Oh, I've heard of
following
that.
an unex. Have you?
Yeah.
Following an unexplained and bizarre order to turn the ship in the direction of the other vessel.
Oh my gosh. I just got the chills again.
Isn't that creepy?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
he got a
that's
bizarre order to turn his ship into the direction of the other vessel.
right.
And then, like, around the same time, his doppelganger is walking through the damn drawing room at a party his wife is giving.
Right.
And he's going down with his ship.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't this weird?
Yeah, this whole
Like
subject's
this,
like freaking
I love it.
out.
So in France in the 19th century, Emily's Segui, a 32-year-old school teacher, apparently had a doppelganger that was witnessed by several are witnessed several times in one of the most interesting doppelganger records ever. One of our students, Julie von Gildenstuhl, I'm assuming that's how it is,
Close enough. It's fine.
reported the several appearances. So a girl actually saw this. One such appearance was the teacher was writing on the chalkboard, teaching a class of 13 students. Her double appeared standing alongside her. It was her exact image, except that it was not holding a piece of chalk. It was not writing, it was just standing there next to her.
Right next to her. Oh my gosh.
Right. All 13 students claimed to see this. All 13 of them.
Oh my gosh.
On another occasion, from the same woman, all of the school's 42 girls were in the school hall for sewing and embroidery class. As they worked, they could clearly see the teacher in the school's garden gathering flowers. However, when the girls' teacher left the room for a moment, the doppelganger appeared,
Just like popped up.
sitting motionless in the teacher's chair.
Oh my gosh.
Two girls actually went up to the doppelganger and tried to touch it, but were met with an odd resistance and were unable to penetrate the air surrounding the entity.
Oh my gosh, I got
Entity.
another chills.
Yes, yeah. One girl, stepping between the teacher's chair and the table, passed through the apparition,
Oh my
so
god.
she could actually walk through it,
Yeah,
but they couldn't like touch
touch
the
it.
air. Right.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. So after she walks through this apparition, it slowly vanishes. The girls notice that on the arrival of the doppelganger, the teacher looked suddenly very tired as she worked in the garden. Um, Segi declared that she had never seen the apparition, but admitted that when it was present, she felt drained of energy. Um, and the girls in the school had noticed that the teacher became very pale during the doppelganger visits.
What?
Yes. So now I am going to tell you my very favorite one that got me started on this rabbit hole of information.
Yes.
So late at night, I usually go to the bathroom. I'm just going to read you the whole quoted text.
Okay.
So it says, late at night, I usually go to the bathroom multiple times. But for the past 4 days, every time I go to leave, I can see myself still standing in the mirror from the corner of my eye.
Oh my god.
It is like the other me is watching me leave the bathroom. It terrifies me to the point where I almost run out without looking directly at the mirror. I never told my husband about it because I don't want to acknowledge it out loud. Earlier today, I took a nap in our bed while he sat in the chair next to it watching TV. When I woke up, he told me that he had seen me sit up
Oh my
and
god. No!
crawl backward.
You stop right now.
He had seen me sit up and crawl backwards to the edge of the bed and stand up in front of our bedroom door from the corner of his eye. He thought it was weird that I got up like that because I'm in my last month of pregnancy. And I can't really move so well without it hurting. So and so I can't move without it hurting. So he tried talking to me. When I didn't answer, he looked at the door to find me not there and still sleeping in bed. I got really creeped out and finally told him about what I had been seeing in the bathroom.
Yeah.
He thought it was creepy as well, but didn't want to really talk about it anymore because he thinks it will give whatever it is power or energy. I have no idea what it wants or why we both saw it.
Oh my gosh.
That is what started me on this rabbit hole.
What happened to the person? Does it say or no? Where did you find this? What's
doesn't-
happening?
It doesn't say it was on a Reddit. It was a Reddit story. I don't know if it's true or not, but
Dude,
it
if
was
not,
creepy
that
enough to get me
person
started.
that person should be like a writer and make a whole story about it because it's really freaking me out.
For real, right?
Oh my god.
So that's pretty much my doppelganger case. I just have one little bit to leave you guys with. So there is another theory about doppelgangers,
Right.
and possibly one that in our modern times of open-mindedness is even more disturbing.
Oh
Are you guys ready for this?
god.
And it's even more disturbing than the supernatural explanation. What if we exist in a parallel universe in which everything in this world is replicated in another dimension? And in some way, at certain times, for whatever reason, we are able to witness this other dimension. It would explain feelings like deja vu, meeting somebody and feeling like you've known them forever,
Yeah.
uh, or have met them before. What
S-
about that?
So I will say to you right now, Tristan, is Andrew's pretty interested in things like that, and so I think that scientists agree that there are something like 10 dimensions that they know about, and it has long been my theory that there are alternate dimensions that we all live in, and in those dimensions it's so weird because I it's crazy that you brought it up because I have like when we stop at like a stoplight or something, or even if like you see a car accident, I have the weird thought of what if in an alternate dimension I was hit by a car that didn't stop at a stoplight, or I was involved in that accident that we just drove by. You know what I mean? Like, I have those weird thoughts. Like, and I don't even know why I have them. They just pop into my head. Like, oh, well, in an alternate dimension, I could actually be rich from winning the lottery. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
yeah, I have
It's
those thoughts
weird.
all the time. So I
It
I
is.
actually firmly believe in alternate dimensions and that we do exist parallel to now. And I actually we kind of talked about this before about what are ghosts, and I told you that I have a couple of theories. So I will say that this is one of my theories of what ghosts are. Is they're not actually ghosts; they're people from alternate dimensions that are somehow bleeding through into our dimension, and that's why they come through as shadowy or not full bodied or things like that because they're not crossing all the way over. They're just kind of bleeding in a little bit. So that's
which
a
is which is weird because like in all the accounts, I mean, I'm not discounting your theory at all, not any means,
well,
because
it's
it's a
just a
very good
theory.
theory.
I'm not a
But it's a
scientist.
very good theory. But like by all accounts, these people were really there.
No, yeah. So the doppelganger thing, I don't know about. Like that must be like literally our they're actually converging together. Like you can't tell the difference between where one is and where the other is. You know what I mean?
Right. So in ancient Egypt, I was really interested in the Ka
Yeah.
yesterday morning. So I was reading about the ancient Egypts believed that, of course, when you died, you went to a place and you could take all of your riches with you, and you were going to be pharaoh or whatever that you were in your current life. You were going to be that there.
Right.
But they believed that the Ka, your double spirit, could actually separate from the rest of you and be embodied into a statue or a likeness of you.
Right.
And so that really interested me a lot. I mean, not that I believe it necessarily, because I mean, they scrambled people's brains, for goodness sake. So
They did do weird things. They did very weird things. I don't know.
they did do very weird things. But I mean, I wonder if it's something like what you're saying, like there's a double
Yeah.
spirit of, you know what I mean? And that is what is coming out,
I mean, I
which
think
would go along with all the doppelganger lore to begin with, because it, in all accounts, is you,
right. I don't know, man. It's so weird.
just different. Yeah,
So
it is weird.
I will say that I've heard, and I'm gonna tell a couple of them, but I've heard stories of doppelgangers, and a lot of them, Tristan, it really freaks me out because they're very similar to that last one you told about the pregnant lady. Not
Mm-hmm.
that she would see herself in the mirror, but so on the campfire, which is an all right podcast if you're, you want to hear some true ghost stories. Um, but people go on there and they've actually talked about how they are laying in bed and they look over to their sleeping spouse or significant other that they've thought were sleeping. And this is actually quite prevalent where they look over and they have a huge grin on their face, like an evil,
Ooh,
creepy, and like their
talk
eye.
about chills.
Yeah, and like their eyes don't look exactly normal. Like it's their partner, but they don't, like there's just something weird about them. And I've heard more than once that they're smiling this weird creepy smile and that it like freaks out the person and they like get up and when they go to look back their partner is still laying there sleeping, not have moved or anything like that. Like, so that creeps me out. And then I would.
Okay, so I will say this because I wanted to. It reminded me of something that Diane had told me before, and I would really like to have her as a guest on our show one time
Yeah.
because she knows a lot about she knows a lot about demons, a
Right.
lot.
Yeah.
And she had told me one time that to mess with your head, that demons can be portrayed as anybody in any given time period
Oh my gosh, I don't like that. I don't like
because
that.
they have knowledge of everything.
I don't like that, Tristan.
I don't either.
I don't like demons. They really freak me out. I'm always worried that I'm gonna like be possessed or have a demon, and I laugh because I'm nervous, and I truly, it's terrifying to me, and um, I just like to think of Jesus when I think of that kind of stuff because it calms me.
Right. So as like as a believer in Christ, as a follower of God and his teachings and a believer in Christ,
Right.
um once you are filled with the Holy Spirit, nothing can ever possess you.
Oh,
And never. It can
that's
never
good.
even happen. Even if you fall away from the church, God is always with you and you
Yeah.
can never ever be possessed. Nothing can ever take over your body.
That's good, and I'm very creeped out. So I'm gonna tell you the thing that I brought up in the beginning that really freaks me out. So I don't know if you remember her, but I used to have a friend named Samantha, um, and she's the one that her parents were. Her dad was like a horse jockey, like back in the
Okay,
day.
I remember. Yeah, she was really tiny. I remember
Yeah,
that.
she was
Yeah.
really tiny and she had blonde hair and she was like a little pixie or like I don't know. She was teeny tiny, right? So one day I find like this journal that she had written and she was writing about a friend that she had in like Arizona or something like that. But she's like writing a description of this person and it sounds exactly like me, okay? And I'm thinking like, "Oh, she's writing about me." So like I ask her about it and she's like, "No, I have a friend and she looks exactly like you." And then I'm like, "Oh, I kind of think she's lying." Like I think she's lying, really, to tell the truth. So like she moves away, like from Param, she moves, and I talked to her on the phone like months later, like months and months later, and she starts like a story and she's like, "Yeah, my friend, I don't know, we'll call her like Victoria or something." She's like, "The one that looks exactly like you." And I'm just like, "What?" Like I truly thought she was lying when I talked to her about it, and then I'm like, how would she even like? Why would she remember that weird conversation of, "Why are you writing about me in your notebook?" You know what I mean? And like,
Right.
it really freaked me out. And then I'm like, I hope it's not a doppelganger of me.
Right, because maybe
No.
you're the bad one.
Maybe you're the bad one. Your face is the bad one. No. I don't think I'm the bad one. Now I'm
That's
scared.
kind of weird. You know what though? Okay, so when we moved to Nevada from Colorado, remember where I had a friend named Carla?
Yeah.
Remember Carla?
Yeah.
So we moved out here, right? And we started going to school, and there was a girl. Um, that looked exactly like Carla, and it weirded me out so much that I was like, "Are you Carla?"
You do follow
Like,
me here? What's up, man?
like, well, when we left Colorado, Carla and I had like broken up as friends,
Yeah.
and we had like a really bad relationship at the end.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, like, I honestly was obsessed with this for like 2 weeks, thinking that she was Carla.
That really is
It
weird.
was weird.
That's crazy. I don't think I've ever met anybody that I thought looked exactly like somebody else. But that's
It
really
was so
freaks me
weird.
out.
I mean, like, I don't know if they look the same now. I see this girl once in a while, and
Oh, right.
I don't know, but it was so weird, so freaking weird that I was obsessed with it and thought that this was Carla. Honestly, for like 2 weeks, it obsessed me. After we moved here and went to school.
That's really strange. And I wonder who's the evil. Who's the
I don't.
evil
I would
Carla?
think Carla is the evil one.
Interesting.
She was pretty much a biatch.
Yeah, that's true. Um,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't want to talk or think about doppelgangers again, but
I'm telling you, man, I was scared for like 4 days to like go take a shower, like cleaning the bathrooms at work, like to clean the mirrors. I'm
oh
like, don't
my
look in the mirror, don't
gosh.
look in the mirror.
Listen, I always think that of like, I don't know why, but Bloody Mary. Even though I'm sure we've all done it when we were kids and nothing has ever happened, but I heard like a story once of where something did happen to someone. And now, like, every time I go in a bathroom, it pops into my head for some reason. Like, but now I think it's going to be replaced by a doppelganger.
Right, right.
I'm
And
never
it
going to
does.
look in a
And
mirror again.
I know I was so freaked out, man. And now I'm over it because I'm like, what are you going to do? I don't even care.
Yeah, whatever, man. You want to make me jump off the roof? I don't care.
Like,
No.
I'm like, I wish you would. Like,
But then again, like we said, maybe you are the evil one. So,
right.
who knows? Now, I wonder though if you could be a doppelganger, like the evil one, because like they don't have shadows and they don't have reflections, but would your mind somehow convince? Dude, this sounds like a Twilight Zone episode, like for freaking real,
For
okay?
sure it does.
But
I think
like,
it could be.
would your mind like somehow trick you into like, oh, I'm normal, I'm looking at myself in a mirror, but you're not. You're just not. Like,
Right, but I mean, like, according to the lore, a doppelganger is of you.
right.
You know what I mean? It's a harbinger. It's like a bad omen. So I think that in the lore, it's just I don't know. It's just weird. It is weird.
It's so
I
weird.
think that if you do happen to see your own self like that, have you get a priest and start praying. Like,
Yeah.
just get out your Bible,
Yeah.
man, and just start.
And then it makes me wonder though, like, do you always see your doppelganger? Or is there a chance that you would go through your entire life and have somebody out there that looks just like you or even is of you and you never ever see them?
Well, I mean, modern day doppelganger is somebody who is physically an actual person who looks a lot like you.
Right.
So that's our modern day. But I don't know, like the doppelganger of the lore of the spiritual realm and stuff like that. Like, of course, I'm sure that most people go through life not ever seeing
Right.
this phenomenon happen. I personally would not like it to happen to me. This is
Yes.
one of those things I'm gonna put in the hell no column,
Hell to the
you know,
F no. That's what I was
for
saying.
real. Like that, this is something I'm gonna put into my hell no column
Yeah, I'm down with that
because
too.
there are things that I would like to see, and there are some things that I would like to experience. Um,
This is
ghost,
not one of
ghostly
them.
stuff, apparitions, embodied voices. That is stuff that I would like to experience for myself. But this is in the hell
Yeah,
freaking
I
no
agree. This
column.
is like a N O. That's right.
Like a hard no on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna hard pass on that. Thanks.
Like, it's not even like a maybe type thing. No,
Yeah,
absolutely not. I do not ever want this kind
I
of phenomena to happen to
totally
me.
agree with that.
It is creepy. I
hoax.
told you it's so creepy.
Dude, it's like uber creepy, and I really enjoyed it, actually.
I enjoyed it too. I now wish I'd written it down instead of doing what I did with it this time, because it got me like mixed up in some places. And you had asked me too when I told you about my process this time.
Yeah.
You're like, how do you not get mixed up? And I was like, oh, it'll be okay. But it did, and I had actually copied. I had like written two paragraphs exactly the same, or because I was like rearranging them in the
Oh, right.
computer.
Yeah.
So I think it might have just been two, like I had copied and pasted it, and I forgot to delete one of them. That's
Gotcha.
probably what happened. So,
Now
because
I'm
I was just moving them and rearranging them in the order I wanted to talk about.
now I'm worried because our next episode is going to be me have done the same thing. So now I took your advice and I did not write it, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
Right. It's much easier to, do the research and find all of your places that you want to do. I like the concept. I think, well, see, because I was doing it on the MacBook,
Right.
and the MacBook works much differently than a regular computer, and I hate that
Right.
damn thing. And it doesn't have like an actual writing program. So if you put it in your notes thing, and so I had to read it off my phone too. So that was like an issue,
Right.
because my phone wants to go dark and it is doing like weird things. So I'm gonna do it on my computer that I now got set up. Thank
Yeah.
you, Tech Guy Dylan. And
Yes.
so,
So this
but that was my case of the doppelgangers.
and I enjoyed it, and I hope that everybody else also enjoys it because it's spooky AF, and those are the best kinds of stories, I think.
I think they are too. You guys definitely, if you have had any kind of experience with this, I want to know more about
Listen, I
doppelgangers.
for sure want to know about that shit. Like, if you've seen yourself, I want to know. So you tell me now.
Right. Yes. Do not forget to subscribe, click the notification bell so you guys can get our updated videos. We try to post 2 a week. So like, share all the time. Our links for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter will be in the description.
They're down
Please
there.
follow us. Please subscribe.
That's
We really
right.
needed your guys' support. We want to make this a full-time job.
For sure. And we want to take this on the road. And I don't know about meeting people because always think that's weird, but we might give you a shout out for sure.
Yes, for real. But we definitely want to take this on the road. We want to do real life investigations in real life.
Yes. Yes. Because we laugh a lot, but I really take this very seriously. And I sometimes laugh out of nervousness because I'm terrified beyond belief. So,
Plus, we laugh a lot because we're both dummy dum dums.
well, okay then. I think you're speaking for yourself. No, I'm just kidding. I'm pretty dumb, but I laugh at
we're
ridiculous
just
things.
we're just silly. We're sisters. This is how we are together. This is what we do.
Yeah, if you didn't know, we are actually real life sisters. This is not like, oh, we're no, we're actually sisters.
Like in real life biological sense.
Exactly. We came from the same mama, had the same daddy.
IRL. IRL. We're sisters.
I don't know. Oh, is that in real life?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not down with
Everybody
with your jive lingo.
every, everybody walks around the house saying IRL, IRL, and I was like, what does that mean? And they're like, in real life.
Well,
And I was
isn't
like,
that
what?
where we live? Is in real life? So I don't think that disclaimer is necessary, but who knows nowadays with technology, right? So
Who knows? Right, exactly.
So I guess we're gonna probably end this here, but I did want to say that I think I'm gonna change my exiting tagline to "From the flip side to the dark side." But
I like
I
it.
don't know if that sounds too like we're in the dark. No, I don't want to be. I'm not evil, okay? Just like it's spooky.
I also like it spooky. I don't know. I think that would be okay. But it kind of is like channeling like Star Wars.
Oh shit. Okay, then I'm gonna keep it on the flip side.
And I'm going to keep mine because I want everybody to stay creepy.
For real, I like creepy. We like creepy, so stay creepy.
We do like creepy. Yes.
And we'll definitely catch you on the flip side. Peace
Yes,
out.
we will.